Look at this picture. It's a picture of a school poster trying to sell itself to you. And you can see how it does that. It says small classes, academic excellence, acclaimed education, and overall exceptional. And it's interesting, isn't it, that this school is trying to sell themselves like they're selling a car or like they're selling a mobile phone. And we'd say that this kind of thing didn't really happen in the past. By the past, we're thinking before the 1980s. Schools wouldn't reach out to you quite like this. But now you see it everywhere. You see universities in YouTube adverts trying to sell themselves. You see posters like this. You see school websites really trying to get you to go to their schools, really trying to sell themselves. And that is an innovation. That is a new thing. And that really is what marketisation is. It's when we treat schools like they're businesses selling a product. And I'd really encourage you to look at a school website, especially a private school website, and see how they try and sell themselves, how they try and say that you can have a certain way of life if you go to their school with all the extracurricular activities you can do. Try and show that you can succeed if you go to their school with great grades and showing off the grades of their students and the destinations of their students as well. Now, marketisation is also about trying to get schools to compete with each other like their businesses. Just like a business would compete in this very cutthroat way against one another, this is also happening in schools. And you can see that with league tables, where schools are trying to get ahead of one another. And they're often trying to be very selective of the students that they have because they want the best students to go to their schools. Good students at the school means good grades for them, means they're higher up the league tables. If you're high up the league tables, you're going to get more funding. You're going to get more students wanting to go to the school. Parents will be moving into that area so that their students can go to it. Now, marketisation in education is one thing. In a more broad sense, it is the principle that all the institutions in society should be turned into a free market, or at least run like the free market. And a free market then is this competitive environment where private companies compete for profit. And compete really is the word. It's all about competition. And that's why so many people like marketisation. Why, for example, the new right sociologists like marketisation, because they believe that if you have that, then production and quality will go up. So think about running a race. If you're running a race and you're the only person in that race, you're not going to try very hard. You can just walk if you want to, because there's no reason to go fast. You're going to win anyway. Now, if you're in a race, in that same situation, imagine again, but you've got loads of other people running that race, and they're trying to get ahead of you, and you're trying to get ahead of them. Well, then you're going to put a lot more effort in. You're going to try a lot harder, and you're going to want to get that goal. You're going to want to get that trophy. And this is the principle of the free market and marketisation, that if you apply that to education, then schools will start putting their best in and quality will go up because they want to be at the top. They want to attract the students to get the funding, to get the support. And we can see that happening already in, for example, league tables, in inspections, in competition for school places, in schools being more selective of the students that they take in. Now, there are some criticisms that we can make of marketisation. For one thing, many people believe that education should not be a product. It should not be there to be sold because it is something sacred. It is something special. Also, there is a problem with marketisation in its effects, the effects that it's had on people. Now, there are many negative stereotypes, unfortunately, about certain students, ethnic minority students, working class students. And in the environment of marketisation, many schools now don't want to take on certain students because they think they're going to get a bad grade, and that will bring them down in the league tables. And so they're often then not selecting those students. The very high-performing schools, the very selective schools aren't selecting those students because of a fear that they will bring them down in this marketised environment and bring them down in the league tables. So that's a criticism. Negative stereotypes and also the fact that education itself shouldn't be sold as a product. And then overall then, just to recap, marketisation is this process where we started to treat schools like they're businesses selling a product.